Ladies and gentlemen, there is at least one president of a country who already thinks about the quantum politics. And precisely for that reason, he is among all the magnificent participants in our conference. Let's be now all ears for a moment, as the floor will be taken by Armen Sarkissian, President of the Republic of Armenia.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm so pleased to be a part of this conference because I do consider that in this new world, recognizing and working towards not only cybersecurity, but also towards securing and fighting the risks connected with data management much more wider, and securing the whole virtual world is utmost important. Today in the morning, when I was thinking about these two words about cyber and security, I thought maybe there are another two words that can go together as well. The one will be quantum, and the second one will be dialogue. Why quantum? Because we live in a completely new world, and this is a world that data companies have become much, much bigger than oil companies. This is a world that we call to Australia or to Argentina from Armenia, and it's more than natural that live we have our discussions and connections. We live in a world where COVID-19 has become a global pandemic. Well, before the pandemics were coming and going without being noticed. And a result of that is, of course, the changed world where we live in huge cities. We go to the same shopping malls. We travel in huge airplanes, 300 people on one 10-hour flight. The world has changed, but and of course, the changes that we also notice are, for example, the merger of entertainment and politics. Politics and entertainment were always close to each other, but now we are living in a world that politicians, the great politicians, are becoming great entertainers as well, and the other way around. In some countries, entertainers are becoming politicians and up to presidents. And of course, this is a time where individual power is becoming very, very important. This is a time when one individual, even a billionaire, can not only dream, but fulfill his dream and send astronauts to the space, and even dream to sending personally through his company people to Mars. I'm speaking about Elon Musk. So this is a time of quantum. Quantum in this case means not only that we're living in not a classical world that was here 20, 30 years ago, but in a new world where there are new rules which are not recognized yet, and we have to explore and find. And because the rules are not fully recognized and managed, we are seeing a lot of uncertainty, unpredictability, and we have a complete discomfort, like scientists 100 years ago when they couldn't explain classical events. So welcome to the new world, welcome to the quantum world, and welcome to quantum virtually powered human beings that are a source of revolutions in North Africa or Eastern Europe, but they are also source to those politicians that are winning elections, elections not based on political idea or ideology or political party, but the power of quantum and direct access to people. So in this new world, the challenges are new as well. And one of the biggest challenges, of course, is the cyber threat here. And how do we manage the cyber threat? It takes me back in the year 2009. I was a part of an event or organization which was created between NATO, United States, and Russia, and it was called Euro-Atlantic Security Initiative. It was chaired by Senator Dunn, former Minister of Russia, Sergei Ivanov, and Ambassador Ishinga. And the idea was to discuss about the future challenges, starting from strategic arms, conventional arms, terrorism, and also the third part, where I was involved and partially chaired, was about energy and was about other threats. And one of the other threats, this is the year 2009 and 2010, I recognized the internet was the cyber threat. Those days, it was not as global as today. And I was thinking about how do we manage that? How do we manage the cyber those days? Do we manage, is the solution in technology? Is the solution is finding every and each time new defense systems and so on and so forth? After thinking long about this new world and the challenges ahead, my conclusion is that the important word here is dialogue. It takes me back again to the end of the Cold War and the fall of the Berlin Wall, when the visionary leaders from, let's say, people like President Schmidt, Kohl, and Margaret Thatcher in the West, and President Reagan, and later President Bush, had the courage of going into dialogue with the other side. In this case, it was the Soviet Union, since putting an end to the Cold War and the fall of the Berlin Wall followed. And then, of course, the most important thing was happening, that the United States and Soviet Union negotiated the deal on strategic arms and nuclear arms, which was very, very important. So dialogue is important. So those days I was thinking that dialogue is a solution, not technology, because against every technology, there'll be a new technology. If you try to protect yourself using only technology, then probably you will fail. And dialogue, human dialogue, is the most important thing. And in this case, the dialogue should be not between two superpowers, Soviet Union and United States. It should be much more complex, much more wider, and much more deeper. Definitely, it should include the European Union, United States, Russia, and I'm pleased to hear that President Putin has offered a dialogue between them and United States. But the issue is that if even United States and Russia will agree, that will just be the beginning of the process, because then you have to involve other big powers, and you have then involve other smaller powers, including smaller countries. If you take a country like Armenia, we are facing cyber threat every day, and it's not only from our neighbor Azerbaijan, but also from Turkey, who is a NATO member. And in fact, unfortunately, that virtual threat is becoming more and more a material one. Probably you have heard there is a conflict on the borders of Nagorno-Karabakh, started by Azerbaijan on Sunday. And unfortunately, I have to declare that the NATO member Turkey is fully supporting now Azerbaijan through its electronic drones, through cyber attacks, but not only that, but also their personnel and advisors and mercenaries, and also up to F-16s. That for every Armenian living worldwide, it's a sort of a return of the ghost. Initially, it was return of a ghost, of a virtual ghost, but now it's becoming material. Why I say a ghost? Because that's the ghost of the Ottoman Empire that 105 years ago masterminded the genocide of Armenians. So there is no way that we can allow that this genocide happens again. But where is the solution? Even in this conflict of Nagorno-Karabakh, again, it's dialogue between parties. And there's a platform, the OSCE Minsk Group, and there are three co-chairs, Russia, France, and United States, and we should go back to dialogue. On material conflicts and cyber conflicts, there is only one way out, and that's the dialogue. Of course, dialogue in a virtual world is complex, because, as I said, it should include everybody here, up to the individual, the quantum that is virtually powered. These days, there are a lot of talented girls and boys that if they were living 30 years ago, probably they will be dreaming of becoming the next Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Or if they were some 40, 50, 60 years ago, they would be dreaming becoming the next Albert Einstein. But today, I think if they are ill-motivated, they will try to go into hacking, and this hacking will create a huge problem. So cybersecurity is as big as a threat to the humanity as the nuclear arms, biological arms, and it's the time that we realize that we live in a new world, and this new world has its own new rules. that are different from the classical, and that is why I call it quantum. And it has to take into account from superpowered up to the powerful individual. And all of our dialogue should include many. Of course, by creating systems, agreements, limitations, but you cannot get them if we don't have a dialogue. So once again, if I think about cybersecurity today, the final words are: welcome to the new world. Welcome to the world where data and internet will be dominating. Welcome to the world where data companies are 10 times bigger than oil companies. Welcome to the world where quantum, one highly energized individual, can organize a revolution using this thing, which is the tool, and its virtual connectivity, because every individual now is half material and half virtual. And welcome to the world that is, it looks like much more unstable, unpredictable, not safe from the point of view of cyber and data management, the biggest value of the humanity that it has now, which is data around the world. And I think we have to think very seriously. And the way forward, from my personal experience, is not technological solutions. They are very important. They're very important to have firewalls, antiviruses, specific technologies, all of that is important. But eventually, for every genius and creator on the one side, there will be another genius or a creator on the other side. For every anti-system to the cyber, there'll be another one that will be breaking this anti-system. So the way out for us, people that live on this planet, among many threats that we are facing today, be that pandemic, which is a result of the changed world, it's not the consequence, and we have to realize that. The climate problems that we are facing, also, it's a result of technological advance of the human society. And of course, if I stop here, the one big one is the cyber security, and it's time for us to get serious and seriously think about how to fight cyber. That means, how do we make this world much more safer? And one of the first steps, as I said earlier, is to realize that the classical world of engagement or dialogue or working together, they don't work. They don't work because this is a world which is completely different than even the one that was 10 years ago and 20. And this world is going to change even faster. And if we don't change, if we don't realize, then we will have more and more questions than no answers. The way forward is to realize that there are new rules that are running this new world. That's why I call it quantum, and welcome to the quantum world. And quantum in this case means that this world is run not by classical rules. Quantum in this case means also that we are so much interconnected and interrelated that the systems and ordinary values that we have, they have to be adopted. And one of them is, for example, the utmost important one, democracy. How do we exercise democracy? We were exercising democracy in classical world through democratic elections and a government with checks and balances every 5 years, and then people were delegating their power to the parliaments or to the presidents or prime ministers. And in this new world, democracy is exercised every minute. Democracy is exercised every day. People are expressing their ideas through this virtual tool, their virtuality. So every politician daily knows how high is his or her rating and where does this politician stand and what. And this tool also is not only recording the rating, but it's also having huge, tremendous influence on decision-making process. So it's a complex world. It's fascinating. Of course, it's not only a world full of risk, but if we will use our common sense and strength of our knowledge, and if we'll understand that changes will happen even more quicker, more rapid than before. And for that, I have a new term that Instead of saying that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, which takes us somewhere, we are in a process which I will call our evolution, which is revolution, but it's a rapid evolution. So things will change every day. New technologies, new smartphones, new technologies that are good for the humanity, but also new ways that it will create risks.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much for sharing.
The final words is that dialogue is important.
Absolutely. Yes, we are with you, Mr. President, on that. Absolutely dialogue, and it looks like it's not that classical dialogue which we might have meant 3 weeks ago when we were inviting you to the Cybersec, to European Cybersecurity Forum. And now we see that even here, wherever we are at our computers, we are at the heart of global matters. And speaking of dialogue and speaking for this difficult time, once again, thank you very much, Mr. President, for sharing your remarks. This is how James Apatharal, NATO's Secretary General, Special Representative for the Caucasus and Central Asia, commented on the ongoing conflict. NATO is deeply concerned by the reports of large-scale military hostilities along the line of contact in Nagorno-Karabakh conflict zone. The sides should immediately cease hostilities, which have already caused civilian casualties. There is no military solution to this conflict. The parties should resume negotiations towards a peaceful resolution. NATO supports the efforts of the OSCE Minsk group. And this is the end of the quote. As I said, the presence of Armenia here certainly proves that here at the European Cybersecurity Forum, we are focused on the whole world.